What if life is a simulation? Where do we find ourselves then? If politics manufactures consent through the creation of simulations, and entertainment elicits and captivates the human imagination by creating simulation, then what happens when both government and the media unite? What happens to the mind of humanity? What happens to our psyche when these two monsters ally themselves to manufacture consent? Well, the stadiums, the podiums, the hallways of power, all of these are spectacles, and they're unfolding in the battlefield of the human mind. People look for simulated realities because their immediate personal reality is not satisfying. So by seeking immediate gratification of your pleasures, then you are forsaking your long-term development because you're wasting time. There is no more time to be created. You're wasting time. Time happens in the now, that is true, but we are limited creatures with limited information. So when we don't understand why we lust after something, or why we feel so energized when we're part of a crowd or part of a big football game, then we fall into we fall into the shadows of perception, where we don't see the truth, and what we see as shadow, we see as truth. People prefer to think that the football is a spectacle that is pure and without corruption, when in fact that is not true. And I'm only bringing the football arena as an example. That example is interchangeable. You can use it in the political arena. It's all a scam. It's a game. It's a wrestling match where the opponents, the red versus blue, continue to fight endlessly. And the simulation shields us, blinds us, distracts us, distorts our sense of values, consumes our energy and our time because we choose to pay attention to it. The upcoming election, or the current election and the current state of politics right now, is an utter absurd. It's a fucking spectacle, and it's like we're living in bizarro world where President Camacho is an actual ideal candidate for most people. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what you think these politicians are going to do for you, because it won't affect you. It will indirectly affect you once the conditions are put in place and the aggregation of individual choices act as a catalyst for change or socioeconomic change. You see, government is an idea that exists in the head. In order for it to take effect, people have to act in accordance with that malfunctioning idea. They ought to question their belief systems and their ideas and their habits and their traits and their mannerisms and their drives and their lusts. They should question everything. The people should question everything with a healthy skepticism. Everything with moderation, of course. But if the state of society has gotten to such a point where everything is engineered, co-opted, and conditioned to fit a narrative, a controlled narrative of reality, then we really are enslaved. But not because of some oppressive government, but by our own choice. We are enslaved by our own choice, or our own lack of curiosity. At a personal level, and I will say this very straightforward, I indulge in a lot of the things that you may indulge in as well. But the standard that I am following, or my existence, is my responsibility. And I think it's very important that I don't waste away by seeking pleasures and just happiness. You don't find happiness by avoiding pain. You don't. And even if you were to obtain happiness, that is elusive. The point of life is not happiness. Get over that fact. Life is unfair. Get over it. And if you think it should be something else, then simulate a different reality or create a different reality. Whatever you choose, you can embrace, energize, and create. But people are too distracted. In following the projections of everyday bread and circus. They look at these projected simulations and call it reality. They look at the TV and call it reality. They look at the political whores and they call it reality. Fortunately, no one can control reality, and the only one who can choose to break out of the matrix of control is you. And the wonderful thing about it is it all starts with a choice and the expectation of nothing. We don't know where we're going. We don't know where we are. We have some very good guesses and assumptions. And perhaps one day we will be free. We will be free. Now that's one elusive future. Here's a clear and present, immediate future that awaits you. You will be free today, tomorrow, and the next day after that. Because no one controls your life but you. And no one can enslave you unless you choose them as a master. Choose yourself as your own learned master. Cultivate your skills and your traits. Ask yourself, why am I the way that I am? Why do I choose to do the things that I do? Who am I? See, these are powerful, disruptive questions which will destroy your current model of existence. Don't forget who you really are. Don't fall into crowds. Change is not going to come by massive mobilization. It's not going to come by an upsurge of radical rebels taking to the White House and, changing policy. It's not going to start with a politician offering you radical, immediate solutions. I'm sorry, it won't. And I really want it to be. I've been following politics and the spectacle of society ever since I can remember. I've been following the spectacle of society, and I haven't seen any worthwhile changes. People live in an amnesic state, but that's because they choose to. And the abstractions they burden themselves with are their own self-imposed barriers and obstacles. You don't have to play that game. Don't divest energy from your own immediate existence. Forget the projections. Forget the simulations. These things are there to distract you and remove power from you. The choice that comes with freedom, it's a shift in perception and can be easily arrived to. But handling that responsibility, now that's a difficulty, which makes humanity great, because it gives them the pressure to become hardened steel in the hot abyss of nothingness. We don't know where we're eventually leading to. We don't know what the outcome of our fate or our destiny or of our reality will be. We don't know the outcome of where things will lead to. But at the very least, we will be able to maintain our integrity and look at the tyranny in our face and know for a fact that it is not in our hearts, that evil doesn't reside in our heart, that we are love and compassionate creatures who can change the world immediately. It starts with you, your family, your friends. That's the crucial reality. Your friends, your family, and everyone around you. Those are the ones that matter. Everything else is irrelevant.